Good morning, first grade. Miss Hershey here with your 7th art project for trimester number 2. This is going to be another 2-week project like the last one. It's going to take 2 videos to do. You can do them both today, or you can do one today and one another day, but it's going to do a couple steps. And this is going to have some things that came in your art packet. So it's going to have these 2 white papers that came in your art packet. It's going to have one big piece of colored paper. You're going to have a long skinny paper and 4 other construction papers, okay? That's all we're going to use today. We're using a lot of stuff today. You're also going to need a scissors and a glue stick today. So, we're going to set our big paper aside. We don't need that yet. We're going to start with our white papers here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this one in half. And you might recognize these shapes from the video you should have just watched about Henri Matisse, the famous painter who painted with scissors. After he became old and couldn't paint anymore, he did paper cutouts. And we're going to do some paper cutouts today. So you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut this one in half. You should have 2 now. Okay? That's the first step. Just set those aside. Now this one has 4. So I'm going to carefully cut them. I'm not cutting on my lines. I'm just cutting the shapes apart right now. 2 shapes. 3 and 4 shapes. So you want to cut all your shapes apart, and mine won't all fit on the camera, but I end up having 6 shapes. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you need to get your 6 shapes together. That's going to be the first thing we're going to do today. So if you need to pause the video to catch up with that, go ahead. If you're ready, we're going to move on. We're going to take our shapes and we're going to trim them. I'm still not cutting out my shape perfectly. I'm not cutting on my lines. I'm just cutting off the extra white to make my shape a little bit smaller. I've got that scrap that I can put in my recycling. I'm just trying to cut off some of the extra here. And when I cut, I try to cut just one piece. I try to turn my paper as I go so that I just get one long piece like that. This guy here has a lot of extra on him, so we can cut all this off and all this off. We're just trying to get him a little bit smaller for gluing. Okay, this one doesn't have a whole lot of extra, but we'll cut him down a little bit too, because we're going to glue these. Okay. And this guy's got a good bit of extra too, so I'm going to cut all that off of this one. And they do not have to be perfect by any means. Just a nice, good cut to get rid of some of that white. And there, now my 6 shapes almost all fit on camera. All right, so I'm going to just go ahead and pile these up, smallest to biggest. And I'm going to start with my biggest paper, my tall, skinny rectangle. It's my biggest one. Some of you have a shiny one. It's metallic, and it might be a different color than the rest of your papers. Your papers will not all be the same color as Miss Hershey's. They're going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to flip this guy over. So I'm looking at the white side. That's very important. We're going to glue on the white side. I'm going to take my smallest shape. I'm going to flip him over so they're on the back of him too. And we're going to do glue around our edges first. You can see my purple glue. And then I'm going to fill in my middle. And I'm going to glue him onto my white paper. So white to white. So the front is colored and the back has our shape. You're going to do your next biggest shape, which could be this one or this one. You choose. I'm going to go ahead and do, I think, this one. So I'm going to go around the edges first. That's how I do it. And then I'm going to do the middle because we want that whole shape on there really well. And then I'm going to flip it and stick it. Smooth it, don't bang it. And that one is done. So I'm going to set that one up here in my done section. Let me put it over here. Okay. Now you're gonna go with your smaller pieces of paper, and everybody should have green. I gave out a lot of green papers. You have 4 greens. So just pick one that you like. And we're going to flip over our next shape, glue around the edges, glue in the middle, and we're going to stick it. Okay, rub it gently. That one's done. We're going to go to our next green. Going to flip. Remember, we're putting our glue on the back so we can see our black lines. I'm going to go around my edges first. And then I'm going to do my middle. Going to flip it, stick it, and rub gently. And that one's done too. We're going to put him in the done pile. Got 2 more shapes to go. Okay, I'm going to go around my edge. This one's big. Then I'm going to fill in my middle. Then I'm going to flip it, stick it, and rub. I got a little wrinkle, so I'm going to rub my wrinkles out. Okay, I'm on my last one. Going to flip it, glue around the edge first. I'm going to flip it, stick it, and rub. Now, if you need to take a break to wash your hands, if you have glue on them, now would be the time. We're going to crank our glue back down, put our top on, and make sure it's on all the way, and we're done with our glue for now. We are not done with our project, however. We have a whole bunch of work to do. That's why it's going to be 2 projects. So, I'm going to start with this guy here. I am going to cut him out on the lines. So I'm looking at my white and I'm cutting carefully. When I cut, I turn my paper. So my hand is always facing away from my body, and then I use my other hand to kind of turn the paper. And you can see I'm going pretty slow, taking my time, taking small bites with my scissors. Imagine your scissors like a crocodile biting your paper. He's taking small bites. Now, if you want to cut off in one big piece like this, you can. But if you want to cut off a lot of little pieces, you can. I'll show you both. This is just one long big piece that I'm cutting. So, I now have my white piece cut out, and we flip it over. He's green on the back. That's just what we wanted. I also have the scraps that we cut out. Let me move this. We're going to save both, okay? You're going to save this and this. We're going to do 2 piles. We're going to do a scrap pile and a shape pile over here on the side. We're now going to cut all of our shapes. Now I'm going to show you the other method. What you could do is you can cut lots of pieces off. So there's a piece for my scrap pile. And I'm going to go down inside here. I'm going to turn it. Turn it. You see my scissors are pretty much always pointing the same direction. Okay, there's another scrap for my scrap pile. Keep throwing your scraps in your scrap pile. We're going to use that scrap pile. Okay, so I wasn't perfectly on the lines here. That's okay. You can either leave it not perfect or you can go back and fix it. I'll leave it up to you, your choice. But I now have another nice green shape. Got a little white right here somehow. I'm going to put him in my shape pile, and I'm going to put the rest of my scraps in my scrap pile. For these next couple, I'm going to go a little bit faster. You can pause the video, or you can watch and then cut at the end. But I'm just going to go a little bit faster just so that we can get to the end of this and then talk a little bit about what we're going to do. Okay, so there's my pink shape here. That was my bonus piece of weird color. And then I've got this one too. See, I'm not staying directly on the lines here. Miss Hershey did not do a great job with this shape. She's trying to go too fast. So, not always perfect, but that's okay because nobody's ever perfect, but everyone's art is going to be unique. So I got a big scrap for my scrap pile, and I've got another funky pink shape for my shape pile. I have 2 more shapes to go. This is probably going to be the hardest shape. This one's got a lot of like fingers on it almost, like a hand with a lot of fingers, or like a comb with a lot of teeth. That's what the parts of a comb are called. They're called teeth. So this one's going to be hard. This one's going to be a little bit harder for you first grade because it's a big shape and it's got a lot of those, like I said, fingers on it. So take your time. If you want to cut pieces off one at a time like that, this might be a better shape to do that. Cut a couple small pieces off instead of one big one. Take your time. There's no rush. Remember, if you were here in person, this would take us about 40 minutes to do. So no rush to get it done at home super fast. I'm going to try to do this all in one last piece here. Oh, I got it. Okay, add that to my scrap pile. All right, so there's my craziest shape right there. Got some scraps, and my last shape should hopefully be easier than that one. So all together, you're gonna have 6 shapes, 2 big, 2 medium, and 2 somewhat small. You should have probably 4 green shapes and 4 that are a different color, unless you got all green. I think 2 people might have gotten all green. So you have like a dark green for where I have pink. And remember, your papers are not all gonna be the exact same colors as mine, because I just kind of handed out scrap papers. This was a way to reuse some scraps that I've been holding on to, some nice big scrap papers left over from a leaf project. So I've got this one going. Okay, almost done. Okay, there's my last shape and my scraps in my scrap pile. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna save all of this for the next video, which you can do today or you can do next time. That's up to you, but you're gonna save your shapes, your 6 shapes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and your scraps. You're also gonna hang on to your big pieces of paper as well. So I will see you guys next time for part 2 of our Matisse Shapes project. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye.